This game caught my attention the moment that the first trailer dropped back in 2021, and I have a feeling that it's about to make a big splash now in 2023. Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and it has been a minute since we talked about Arc Raiders, and by a minute, I mean like 14 months, same difference, yeah? The game was first revealed back at the 2021 Game Awards, and while it was originally slated for a 2022 release, that ended up getting bumped back to 2023, which we are of course now in. And so, because I think we are set to get some new information before too long here, because there's been some very key things happening with the game's development studio as of late, and because I'm just plain excited for it, today I want to bring you all up to speed on what Arc Raiders is, what we can expect from it, and why I'm pumped for it to hit the market this year. If you end up enjoying, a like on the video would be immensely appreciated, and if you want more Arc Raiders updates and content, be sure to click that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell, because this is a game that I have a lot of confidence in, and one that I intend to cover quite extensively here on the channel. With all of that said, let's dive in, beginning with what exactly is Arc Raiders. Well, as I mentioned a moment ago, the game was revealed at the 2021 Game Awards, which is obviously a little while ago, and there hasn't been much new information since. So I don't blame you if you're out of the loop. Aside from what was revealed in this trailer, not a whole lot more is actually known about the game, but let me recap everything that we do know. This is the game's official description. Arc Raiders is a free-to-play cooperative third-person shooter where you and your squad of raiders unite to resist the onslaught of Arc, a ruthless, mechanized threat descending from space. A bit vague, but pretty much the perfect setup for this kind of a game, and I have to say, everything from the world design to enemies, weaponry, it all looks amazing in the trailer, and if you have not watched this trailer for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below. The music is standout. They've absolutely nailed the tone with this thing. But back on track, I don't believe this has ever been explicitly stated, but the game is implied to be of the looter-shooter variety. How deep into that genre they might go, we don't quite yet know. Now, I know that might be a turnoff for some people. For me personally, if you've been around here before, you'll know I'm a massive Division and looter-shooter fan in general, and so if it pans out to be so, I think Arc Raiders could be a really cool sci-fi alternative to the more grounded experience that the Division franchise and other games offer, and unlike Destiny, offered in a compelling third-person experience. The other bit that I think people might be skeptical of is the fact that the game is going to be free-to-play. Not that free-to-play is in any way inherently bad, I pretty strongly disagree with that line of thinking. However, it's not the most common to see in this genre of games. Just keep that in mind though, as I do want to touch on it a bit later on in the video. So, like I said, we know some things about the game, but a lot has been left pretty ambiguous, especially since its delay into 2023. However, there are a few pretty key details on top of that general synopsis and the gameplay that have gotten me quite excited. The first, and you catch a glimpse of it at the end of the trailer, Arc Raiders is going to be a next-gen, more appropriately current-gen only title, meaning it's strictly releasing on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and the PS5. Now, I know availability on the newer consoles has continued to be an issue, though I hear that's alleviating as of late, but the fact of the matter is we've been in this generation for over 3 years now, and not many publishers or games have committed to making that leap and cutting out last-gen hardware. So, from what we know, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what kind of feats this hardware exclusivity will grant Arc Raiders, but I'm really excited to find out, and I have a feeling that it will not go to waste. The next point is something that we did learn sometime after the original reveal, and that is that in the time since the game got delayed, it was announced that despite Arc Raiders originally intending to be a PvE-only experience, when the game launches, it will now come with some form of PvP content. Now again, I know that might not be for everybody, but when I heard that, it took my excitement to the next level. PvP has always been my heart and soul in gaming, especially in titles like The Division and Destiny, and so I can't wait to see Arc Raiders take a crack at that kind of an experience. I've seen concerns from people thinking that the inclusion of PvP is going to ruin their vision for the game or taint the PvE only concept they originally had. I highly doubt that's going to be the case, especially since this idea to include PvP only came in 2022, I presume. At most, I imagine what we're going to see is a standalone side mode where you can participate in PvP under its own rule set and with its own balancing. Of course, I don't know that for certain, but however it shakes out, the fact that it will include PvP is a big highlight for myself. And the last thing I want to touch on and point out is who's making the game. Embark Studios is the developer of Arc Raiders. You may be thinking that name doesn't sound familiar. Well, it's because they're a very new studio who have no released games. At the time of the 2021 Game Awards, Arc Raiders was their first announced project. However, the relevancy of this all is that you've likely indirectly been hearing a lot about them in the past few weeks. And that's because their other game project has been getting lots of traction lately, and that is The Finals. That's right, the FPS title that everybody has been talking about recently is being made by the same people as Arc Raiders. Now, I won't fully get into that game because that's not why we're here, but what's important to point out is that there was some skepticism with Arc Raiders because of its ambition from a team and studio as young as Embark is. However, I think the finals is a fantastic display of their competency and proficiency in creating a smooth, fun, and technically spectacular experience. The game has been getting anywhere from mostly good to rave reviews from its recent closed beta test, and that's because it's just a really tight, solid experience. It also demonstrates some really neat technical feats, like the fact that it features total map-wide destruction that's all handled server-side, meaning the game can host one of, if not the most destructible multiplayer gaming environments ever, and the entire thing is handled on the server side of the game so that every player is experiencing the same events in real time. So again, who knows what they have planned for Arc Raiders, but the fact that we're seeing them pull off these kinds of feats, and knowing that Arc is next-gen only, it just gets me more and more hyped. The finals was the game that ultimately resulted in Arc Raiders' delay from 2022 to 23, in that they outlined how it was just progressing much faster than originally expected, and so due to the studio's newness in the industry, instead of launching their first two games very close together, they decided to prioritize releasing the finals first and giving Arc some more time to be polished and expanded upon, like the inclusion of PvP, before its release later this year. And yeah, from what I see with the finals, it just gets me even more hyped to learn and see more from the Arc Raiders world. Circle back around to our earlier topic though, I wanted to point out that the finals is also going to be a free-to-play game. So again, even though I think having Arc Raiders be a free-to-play is slightly odd given its genre, it seems to me like the free-to-play is more of a preference and initiative by the studio itself, rather than anything terribly indicative of what type of game Arc Raiders is going to be. Of course, because it is free-to-play, that means microtransactions and monetization to some degree will be present. I certainly hope that just means things like a seasonal battle pass, maybe optional cosmetic store options. Nobody wants pay-to-win aspects in their games, especially one that is now going to include PvP like Arc will, so we'll have to wait for more information on that side of things. All in all, I am just impatient as all hell to learn more about this game. The founders of Embark are a lot of ex-Battlefield developers. I think that's evident in the finals, and it's certainly evident from what we've seen from Arc Raiders as well, from the sheer scale of combat with the size of some of these enemies to the gadgets, the team play that looks to be present, the movement and the velocity of combat. Arc Raiders looks to be offering a different perspective on the third-person genre, and I truly can't wait to find out more. I expect we will hear a lot more about the game at either E3 or Summer Games Fest in just a few months, likely looking at a back half of 2023 release, and I have a feeling it's just going to be a ton of fun. As I said earlier, assuming the game is everything it looks like it's going to be, I plan on covering it quite a lot, so if you want to stay up to date on all of the latest, I hope you'll consider sticking around, and let me know your thoughts on Arc Raiders, everybody. Is it a game you look like you're going to enjoy? Is there anything in particular from the trailer or information that excites or concerns you? Whatever you're thinking, leave it down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold.